It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. You hear that, and, well, you just know, don't you?
Instantly, yeah.
It's the iconic opening, maybe the most famous opening line ever. But, beyond those words, there's this incredibly built story. Love, sacrifice, revolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in there.
It really is.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into Charles Dickens' historical masterpiece, A Tale of Two Cities.
Published back in 1859.
Right. And it brilliantly contrasts the chaos of Paris during the French Revolution with, well, the relative calm of London at the time.
That contrast is everything.
And the impact. I mean, think about this. Over 200 million copies sold. It's not just some book people read in school.
No, it's huge. A global phenomenon, really. One of the most read novels, period.
Which kind of makes you wonder, right?
Exactly. That's the big question for this deep dive, isn't it? Why does this tragic, sometimes pretty brutal story still grip people, still move readers so much, more than 150 years later?
Yeah, what's the secret sauce there?
Well, we're going to try and figure that out, uncover why it still has this incredible power.
Okay, let's get into the story itself. Dickens kicks things off way back in 1775. The mood is already tense.
You can feel it simmering.
And we meet Dr. Alexandre Manette. He's just been released, 18 years locked away in the Bastille.
18 agonizing years, yeah. And the Bastille, it symbolized pure oppression back then.
He's reunited with his daughter Lucy in London. It's this moment of quiet miracle almost, a rebirth.
And right away, Dickens lays out the moral landscape. Back in Paris, you've got the Evremond family. Aristocrats.
Brutal ones.
Oh, yeah. They're not just rich. They really embody that unchecked power, the casual cruelty that, basically lit the fuse for the revolution.
Their whole existence is like a provocation.
Totally. A ticking clock.
And then, sort of the opposite, you have Charles Darnay. He's related. He's an Evremond by blood.
But he wants nothing to do with it.
Right. He completely rejects his family's awful legacy. He escapes to London, tries to build a new life, and naturally, he falls for Lucy.
But trouble follows him, doesn't it? As it always does in Dickens.
Always. He ends up on trial in England for treason, nearly convicted.
Comes incredibly close. And this is where Dickens introduces Sydney Carton, this seemingly washed-up lawyer.
Who looks exactly like Darnay. It's uncanny.
And it's not just a coincidence, is it? That physical likeness.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive foreshadowing. Their fates are tangled.
Absolutely pivotal. Okay, so fast forward a bit. Paris explodes. The revolution is on.
Full-blown uprising. The common people finally revolt against the aristocracy. Vengeance is in the air.
And Darnay, feeling this sense of duty, goes back to France, trying to help an old family servant.
A noble but incredibly risky move.
Totally. He's immediately arrested. Why? Because he's an aristocrat. His name dooms him.
So Lucy and Dr. Manette, they rush back to Paris, into the heart of the chaos.
Desperate, right. They're hoping maybe the doctor's own suffering, his time in the Bastille, might somehow save Charles.
It's a long shot. But the real core of the novel, the moment everyone remembers that, belongs to Sydney Carton.
Oh, absolutely. This guy who seems like, a complete wreck. Bitter alcoholic.
Seems destined for nothing, yeah. But he makes the ultimate sacrifice.
He switches places with Darnay, goes to the guillotine in his place.
Gives his life. For Lucy, the woman he loves but could never really be with, it's just breathtaking. That redemption.
Still give you chills. And that leads us right into these incredible characters, starting with Carton. He's so tragic, so complex.
He really is. Initially just seems wasted, cynical, hopeless almost.
But his love for Lucy, it changes him somehow. That final act and that famous line, "It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done." What makes it so powerful?
Well, I think it forces us to look beyond the surface, doesn't it? Here's this guy, the failure, the drunk. Can someone like that be the ultimate hero?
It's a challenging idea.
It is. And his love isn't showy. It's quiet, selfless. It ends up being more profound, maybe, than Darnay's more conventional goodness. Makes you think.
Then there's Charles Darnay himself. He's noble, he's brave, he's always trying to fix the wrongs of his family, the Evremonds.
He represents that idea of personal reform, yeah. Trying to break free from the past.
But like you said, Carton's story just overshadows him a bit.
I think so. Darnay's the moral anchor, the good guy. Dickens uses him to show that, yes, you can try to escape your family's legacy, even against huge odds. But maybe his goodness is just a little too straightforward to grab us the same way Carton's flaws do.
And Lucy Manette, the emotional center. So gentle, almost idealized.
Definitely the heart of the story. A symbol of purity, devotion, kindness in the middle of all that horror.
Her steadiness is kind of amazing.
It is. She represents that quiet strength of compassion, family bonds. Dickens often pits that against, the destructive forces of revolution and revenge. Her love is like its own form of resistance.
And her father, Dr. Manette, his story is brutal. 18 years in the Bastille. The trauma.
It's not just personal trauma, though. It shows how deep the wounds of injustice go, how revolution scars the soul.
You see the long-term effects so clearly.
Exactly. It's like collective memory. Dickens is showing how political injustice lingers, sometimes for generations. It affects everything. Healing isn't clean. It's messy, slow.
And then, Madame Defarge, just, wow, terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. One of Dickens' most chilling villains, that knitting.
Knitting names into her list. People marked for death. It's horrifying.
She embodies pure vengeance. No mercy, no stopping. A really stark warning.
It's a warning, exactly.
That revolution, even if it starts from a just place, can spiral into this brutal, unforgiving cycle. She forces us to see how easily anger can dehumanize, how you can become the thing you fought against.
Vengeance personified. Scary stuff.
Truly.
Okay, so these characters drive home some really powerful themes. Sacrifice, obviously, is huge. Carton's story.
Right. And it's not just about dying. It's about redemption. How love can pull greatness out of someone who seemed totally broken.
It suggests heroism can come from unexpected places.
Absolutely. It's about finding purpose through selflessness. A message of hope, really, that even when you feel you've got nothing left, you might still change everything.
And resurrection, too. That theme pops up again and again.
It does. Dr. Manette coming back from the death of the Bastille. Carton's final act, finding a better rest.
It's spiritual rebirth, isn't it?
Definitely symbolic. Recovery, transformation, finding meaning after despair. It speaks to that human capacity for renewal even when everything seems bent on destruction.
Then there's the big one. Revolution and justice. Dickens is so nuanced here.
He really is. He doesn't glorify the revolution at all. He shows the mob justice, the terror.
But he doesn't let the aristocracy off the hook either. He shows their cruelty, their indifference that started it all.
Exactly. He's not taking sides. He's showing the consequences of extremism on both ends. It's a warning, loud and clear.
A warning about what happens when justice fails.
Precisely. When the system is broken, when it only serves the powerful, the vacuum gets filled by chaos, often by forces just as unjust. True justice needs balance, compassion, not just revenge.
And he uses duality constantly, doubles, opposites.
London versus Paris, calm versus chaos,
Darnay versus Carton, the good man and his wasted double.
peace versus violence. Yeah, he uses these contrasts to explore how people make choices when they're caught up in huge societal forces.
It makes you think about identity, destiny.
Are we defined by our family, our circumstances, or the choices we make? The mirrored characters force us to look at our own contradictions, I think.
It's amazing how he wrote this in 1859, Victorian England, but throws us right into the 1780s, 90s French Revolution.
And he doesn't shy away from the brutality, from either side. The nobles' disregard for the poor, the revolutionaries slide into bloodlust.
He shows it all.
And that core warning echoes. Fail justice, get chaos. But it wasn't just history for him, was it?
No, you get the sense he's looking at his own time, too.
Definitely. He was deeply worried about poverty, injustice, potential unrest in 19th century England. He did his research, trial records, history books, but the emotional fire comes from his own fears. The novel felt urgent then, too.
It was a mirror to his own world's problems that makes it feel so relevant even now. And those lines, they just stick with you.
Oh, yeah. Life you love. Carton's reason for dying. So simple, so powerful. Love without needing anything back.
Pure sacrifice.
And then the final words, it is a far, far better rest. Just etched into literature. It's not defeat, it's peace, purpose found.
So beyond the amazing plot, the characters, Dickens is asking us big questions, isn't he?
He is directly challenging the reader.
Yeah.
What would you give up for someone else?
And bigger picture, what kind of society are we building if justice only works for the rich?
These aren't just story points, they're fundamental ethical questions. They make us look at our own values, our own societies. They demand we think about inequality, apathy today.
Yeah, they really do. So wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like A Tale of Two Cities is so much more than just a story about the French Revolution.
Much more. It's about how love can redeem even a life that seems utterly wasted. How vengeance can just consume everything.
And maybe the biggest lesson, history can repeat itself if we don't pay attention.
Absolutely. And Carton's journey, finding purpose through sacrifice. It speaks to anyone who's ever felt lost, maybe unloved, hopeless.
It suggests there's always a chance for meaning.
Yeah, that even in the darkest times, redemption is possible. That we all have this capacity for something greater, even when we feel at our lowest.
Which leaves us with maybe one final thought to chew on after this, that question about Carton.
Was he truly a hero? Or was he, in the end, just a tragic figure trying to escape his own guilt, his own wasted life?
Something to keep thinking about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.